So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to answer some questions while I work on this still life and move some of this nonsense. So I think the first question was actually by Christmas Bear, asking what I'm most looking forward to doing on my channel in the new year. That's actually a really good question. I'm not entirely sure what I'm most looking forward to. I can't really say that I've thought about what I've been most looking forward to. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I'm most looking forward to. Huh, that's actually a good one. I guess the chance to experiment a little bit, maybe doing some more art live streams and trying to even make a few more forensic videos as well is something that I would definitely like to do. Again, I don't know if I'll be able to do that very effectively, but I certainly want to give it a try. Because, especially because forensics is a big part of... I mean, it's a big part of my life. It's my freaking major of all things. So it's like I want to be able to make something out of it, especially when it pertains to my YouTube channel. So yeah, hopefully some more art live streams, putting up some forensic videos. So I think maybe being able to expand is kind of what I'm probably most looking forward to. So I think the second question was, what kinds of movies and video games do I enjoy the most? Nice. What kinds of movies and games do I enjoy the most? A lot of my favorites usually tend to be something along the lines of like fantasy and action tend to be some of my favorites. But of course that's just movies. It's a little bit of a different story with games. Almost universally for me, games need to have story. And again, almost universally, I tend to get the most enjoyment out of games when there's a story, especially the more complex and crazy it is. I don't know why, but I've just always enjoyed stories like that. There are a couple of games out there that are a little bit different for me, especially games where there's a sort of crafting or creative type element, such as Minecraft. I actually do very much enjoy Minecraft. I mean, there is a little bit of a story to it, with I think especially with the end and whatnot, but I definitely enjoy the creative aspect of that game. Yeah, I mean, those are usually the kinds of ones I tend to enjoy the most, at least. So I think the next one was my whoopsie. Who is my least favorite MCU hero or villain? My least favorite, okay. And what is my favorite part of drawing? Wow, two completely different questions, one on top of the other. I mean, not the weirdest thing I've heard, honestly. So, my least favorite? I don't really know if I have a least favorite necessarily. I mean, I have kind of most favorites, but I don't know if I would say I would have least favorites. Least favorite? I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's even hard for me to come up with favorites for that kind of stuff, but least favorites? Pfft, you got me. I've got no clue. But I think the other part of it too was asking what my favorite part of drawing was. And I'm not really sure. Not really sure what my favorite part of drawing is necessarily. I don't know. I just like being creative in a variety of ways. Yeah, I'm not really I guess just the idea of being creative and creating something different or something new. Something along those lines usually tends to be my favorite part of not even just drawing, but even writing too, is just the creative aspect of it, cuz it's not always easy being creative. Some people might think it is, but it's kind of not. The next one somebody asked was, what software do I use to edit videos? The software that I use is a little bit more unheard of, but for some reason I kind of like it, and I've used it for so long that it just kind of works for me. It's called VSDC Video Editor. Now I just have a sort of regular version. I don't necessarily have the full version, but it seems to do what I want, at least, for the most part. And it kind of accomplishes the task that I need accomplished. I mean, I've used it for quite a while, and I mean, for the most part, it basically accomplishes all the simple tasks and stuff. I mean, a part of me kind of wants to try out a different software, but I have already started trying out a couple, but for some reason they just don't work the same, and it's just kind of hard to figure out, which I mean, I guess I shouldn't be too terribly surprised at, but still. I'm hoping I might be able to get like to purchase a like full version or something like that of some video editing software. I just haven't been able to yet. Because it would be nice to have. I'm not really editing my games too much anymore. I kind of asked for assistance on that. But it is nice for, you know, the rest of my videos that I'm trying to complete. This one was a little bit funny. So somebody asked, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Nice. Although they actually asked what I want my channel to eventually become. And that's kind of a good question. I'm not entirely sure what I want my channel to become necessarily. Yeah, I don't know what I necessarily want my channel to become. Like, a part of me has always wanted to do something a little different. Like, and especially with the idea that I'm not really hardcore focused on a specific type of channel or aspect of a channel. Like, I'm not completely a gaming channel. I'm not completely a reaction channel or something like that. I'm a little bit of a mix of a lot of things because, I don't know, that's just who I am as a person. I'm interested in all different kinds of things, and I kind of hope that the content of my channel reflects that a little bit. I don't know if it actually does. It might not. But it'd be kind of cool if kind of that's what it became. Because I like doing a variety of videos. I don't like, you know, doing the same thing. Like, even in regular everyday life, I don't like doing that. I get bored. I just don't want to do the same thing with my channel all the time. I want to do something new, something different every time. So the next question somebody asked is, what is my favorite kind of video to record / edit / make? Well, good question. I mean, I feel like the answer would be different for all of those categories. Some of my favorite kinds of videos to record can sometimes be gaming videos. It partially depends on the game, of course. But I do like doing some of those. Editing, I don't always like editing my videos, but at least some of the reaction type videos tend to be some of the easiest to edit, so I guess in a way that's kind of my favorite for, you know, that kind of, the reason of being simple. My favorite kind of videos to make, like, I kind of like putting together the forensic and the leverage videos that I've had for quite some time. They're not always the easiest, but I do kind of like putting them together. It's kind of fun. It's just very time consuming. And then of course they also said, like, you know, congrats on my crazy growth my channel's been getting, which honestly in big part is probably due to the other YouTuber compilations that I've been putting together. What do I think about that growth, and what do I think I'll do as my channel continues to grow? So I know that growth is, again, largely attributed to the compilations that I put together and released. Like, that's definitely a big part of why my channel grew as it did and as fast as it did. I mean, heck, in a weird way, I even got a shout out from one of the individuals I did a compilation on, Terrorizer, because he ended up watching said video during one of his live streams. One of his live streams for Movember, I think it was. So it was actually really cool, for sure. What do I think I do as my channel continues to grow? I mean, that's an excellent question. I do sometimes wish I could publish videos more often. But the fact of the matter is that in large part, I just don't have the ability to. Like, you know, I've finally found somebody who can help me edit a bunch of my gaming videos, which would often take up some of the most time for me to put together. I was able to find somebody and I was able to even afford somebody to help me edit some of my gaming videos. But I just don't have the ability to do anything else with any other kinds of videos at the moment. Like, if my channel does continue to grow in some way, maybe I might be able to do something like that eventually, but at the moment I just really can't. So I don't know what I'm going to do if my channel continues to grow. One thing is for sure, though, I'm not going to be posting, like, you know, I'm not going to become a regular YouTuber. That was never the plan. This was always supposed to be just a little side thing. I never, ever intend for this to become like a full-time gig. I've never wanted that even from day one. It's just something I did on the side. Kind of like the same with my writing and my drawing. It is not supposed to become full-time. As my channel continues to grow, maybe I might be able to get somebody to help me with, you know, some of my videos and content so that I can, in a way, post on a bit more of a regular basis. But yeah, I don't know when that's gonna happen. I don't know if it'll happen soon, if it'll take a little while. I get the feeling it'll take a little while. And do I think my content might change? Personally, I don't think my content is going to change too much necessarily. Again, I still want to do diversity. I've always wanted to do that. Like, for some reason, the idea just kind of stuck with me that I wanted to do that. I don't expect my content to necessarily change too much. I'm still going to probably be sticking with the same interesting variety that I've been doing for a little while. I'll still be releasing I'll still be working on South Park reactions and stuff like that. I'll still work on compilations of myself and other YouTubers and whatnot. Oh, I messed that up a little bit. I'll still work on occasional forensic videos and some gaming. I may expand my content at some point. Don't know. What is this next question? This was, what is my goal as a YouTuber? It's interesting. A lot of these questions seem to be focused around my YouTube channel and, like, my ideas for what I want my channel to become or something along those lines. It's really interesting. I don't really know what my goal as a YouTuber is. Like, I guess to provide content, but in the way that I want to provide it, if that makes any sense. I can't really think of a straight up solid goal that I ever created for myself in terms of, you know, what I wanted to do with my YouTube channel. I just wanted to be myself and do something different, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. Never really thought about, like, I suppose it might not be the worst idea to have some kind of goal in mind, but I just never really thought about it. Okay, so I got a couple of little questions here. What are my hobbies and interests outside of YouTube? That is easy. Obviously, I like drawing very much. I've loved drawing for quite some time now. I'm pretty good at it from what people say. But I also love writing very much too. I've written some stories, or at least some drafts of stories, and I don't really have anything published. Not like, you know, an official publishing anyways. Like, I put up some chapters and works and stuff online, but I've loved writing and being creative for a very long time now. I do like biking on occasion too, provided that it's, you know, warm enough, because sometimes it's not, and it just becomes a little bit of an unpleasant of a ride. What does my typical day look like? Oh boy. That can vary. I mean, most weekdays I am, you know, spending some time at work, and then I'll go back and forth during the evenings between recording, editing videos, or sometimes drawing. I've been writing a little bit less and less lately, and I'm trying to get back to that once I have a chance, but I've also been working on a big video project lately, so it's kind of been a little bit iffy. And then on the weekends is pretty much usually dedicated to videos in some way, shape, or form. But there are also some days or evenings where I'll hang out with my boyfriend or hang out with my sister for a little bit. Because, you know, human interaction is still important, even though we live in COVID times. I don't have too much of a social life, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm also not the most social person. What was my favorite childhood show growing up? Ooh, interesting. It kind of went all over the place with what some of my favorites tended to be. One of my favorites, definitely when I was younger, was Avatar: The Last Airbender. That was definitely one of my absolute favorites as a kid. I loved that show. It was the bomb for me. I watched some Nickelodeon shows as well. I would watch SpongeBob, like the earlier seasons at least, Fairly Odd Parents, Invader Zim, stuff like that. But some of my favorites also were on Disney Channel or Disney XD. Yes, I've been around since friggin' Disney XD. I remember that. One of my absolute favorite shows on Disney Channel in particular was actually Lilo and Stitch, the series. And yeah, I don't know if people knew that there was an actual Lilo and Stitch the series, but there was, and it was actually a really good, sort of spin-off of the original movie. I very much enjoyed it. Like Kim Possible and American Dragon Jake Long, so those were definitely some of my favorites as a kid. So if it wasn't obvious, definitely some fantasy and sci-fi and supernatural, or fantasy and sci-fi type stuff. Those were definitely my faves as a kid, for sure. Kind of translates to what I like nowadays with all the fantasy and sci, in terms of writing stuff at least. Yes, as I know, yeah. Well, I mean, this year, but technically last year is what they were talking about. Yeah, it hasn't been the greatest for everybody. So, what are my hopes for the new year? And do I think I'll try out anything new? I'm pretty sure I've kind of already mentioned that in previous questions. It's crazy. I didn't even realize how similar some of these questions were. I mean, I do hope to try some new things. I do hope. Well, I mean, we all hope for a little bit of a better year, obviously. I do hope for a little bit of a better year for my YouTube channel. I hope to, I guess in a way, expand it in some ways. But, I mean, I also hope that, people, especially nowadays, are realizing that, I may be a bit of a YouTuber, but I'm still just a regular person as well. Yeah, I'm just a regular person who's still kind of got her own life. So as much as I might want to create content, there are just some times where I might not be able to do that. So the next question was, does my family have a Christmas movie? Oh, because that's right, because I was starting to ask questions right around the holidays, so yeah. Does my family have a Christmas movie everyone tries to watch together every year? I mean, I think some families have that. My family really doesn't. I mean, we have our own, holiday traditions and stuff, but there's really not a specific movie that we're watching every single year. Yeah, it's kind of different with everyone's family. I mean, it's not really the case with my family, but the next question, sorry, it's already been up for a little bit. What made me choose to do videos involving Terrorizer, and am I planning to do videos about his other friends as well? Nice. I was wondering if somebody would ask me any kind of question related to Terrorizer and the others. So, I started watching Vanos Gaming's videos. There's a reason I mentioned him, at least. I started watching Vanos's videos in, early 2019, I want to say, and I just... pretty much Vanos, or Vanos crew compilations or something like that. But it was a bunch of months later where I started branching out and watching some other YouTube content, namely Nogla, sometimes Wildcat, but I eventually started watching Terrorizer's videos a lot more often as well. And for some reason, there was just so much that was so funny that really stuck out to me, his content, his laugh especially, his soundboard, and how he was a dick to his friends basically all the time. It was so entertaining. So I just eventually decided, hey, let's put together a compilation about this, or about all different kinds of stuff. And I've already got ideas for other compilations as well. I've done a soundboard compilation. I've done Terrorizer being a Terrorizer, basically, compilation. Again, the Terrorizer being basically a douche. The soundboard compilation, the Snort compilation. I even have an idea for a compilation in mind for, every time his friends just yell out Brian. Whether it's Brian, a whiny, or the more common, angry yelling out his name. I don't know why, but I just enjoy his content very much so. I have for a very long time now. He's still to this day not my favorite YouTuber. Jacksepticeye I think will forever be my favorite YouTuber, but I definitely love Terrorizer's content, and I love watching him play with his friends and whatnot. And there are plans to make future compilations on videos regarding his other friends, not just Terrorizer. I've already put together a Big Jiggly Panda Ultimate Wheeze compilation. There was also a 407 Scream compilation as well, which doesn't sound very entertaining, but for some reason, Scotty's screaming, whether it's hilarious or he's angry or he's whiny or whatever, is just utterly hilarious to watch every single time. And he's got some good random screams too. But there is a plan eventually as well to possibly do another Big Jiggly Panda compilation as well. To do that Brian compilation that I mentioned. And I'm planning on at some point getting some clips together for a basically I Do Work compilation. Like his laugh. Marcel's laugh is so underrated, especially when he really gets going. He sounds like a hyena. I've also got some ideas for 2 compilations for Brock. One for, you know, like a laugh compilation of Brock, because he's got a very wholesome laugh. It's not necessarily memorable, but it's very wholesome, especially to my sister and I. And also putting together a compilation of like all the instances where he's, you know, where his daughter has like snuck up into his office. For some reason, like her just appearing in any one of the videos is just absolutely adorable. Like she is the cutest little thing. I also love kids. I'm a sucker for kids. Which sounds kind of interesting. You don't think I would be, but I am. So I've definitely got plans for lots of compilations in the future. I mean, they're not going to be my sole focus, obviously, but they are definitely a potential focus. Sorry that answer ended up being a little bit more drawn out than intended, but what are you going to do? Was there ever anything I wanted to do besides YouTube? Ooh, besides YouTube. I mean, yeah, sure. There are always stuff that I wanted to do besides YouTube. It was just kind of an idea that I wanted to flesh out and just kind of start doing just because I could, really. You know, for the longest time, I actually did want to work with animals, and for quite a while as well, I was considering being a writer, but the logical part of my brain was just like, no, it's not realistic. Short-term or long-term, it's just not. And frankly, the same is said for, you know, having a YouTube channel. Doing that long-term for any kind of career just is not logical. So, I mean, of course I still want to do some... I mean, of course there are things out there that I want to do besides YouTube. Like, again, YouTube will always be a sort of side thing for me. Always. Like, I can guarantee that is never changing. That opinion is never changing. Since watching South Park, will I check out other things that Trey Parker and Matt Stone have done, i.e. Team America, basketball, Orgasmo? I've heard about stuff like that. I mean, that's definitely entirely possible. I'll check out that stuff at some point. I mean, I'm already checking out some early South Park shorts, while Season 8 is still on hold. But yeah, I mean, while Season 8 is on hold, I've already been reacting to some early South Park shorts, so I could probably react at some point to other stuff that Matt and Trey have done. Again, mostly it's like I'm not wanting to do all this stuff right away. I want to spread it out. I want to keep everything diversified, is how I've been looking at it for quite some time now. Looks like we've got another South Park related question, and this one was, in the future, would I react to the Stick of Truth movie or play the game throughout? I assume when you say movie, you mean like watching a cutscenes movie or something like that. Simple answer to that, no. I fully intend to play it. I fully intend to play Stick of Truth and Fractured But Whole. I absolutely fully intend to play both of those. But I'm not going to be playing them right away, is the thing. Those playthroughs, unfortunately, are not going to be around for a little while. If I'm recalling correctly, which I'm pretty sure I am, the playthrough of the first game, Stick of Truth, won't be coming around until I want to say after season 17 ends, before season 18 starts, or like after season 17 ends and and probably like in conjunction with when season 18 will start. So like I'll probably, you know, stop 17, I'll start playing the game, and then probably as playthroughs get released, I'll also release some season 18 reactions and reviews and stuff. And I believe for for the second South Park game, the Fractured But Whole, I do believe it is like 4 episodes into season 21 is probably when I'll start playing Fractured But Whole, if I'm recalling correctly. I'm pretty sure I'm recalling correctly. It was either season 21 or it was season 20. But either way, those are not going to be happening for a while. But I do intend to play both games. How I'm going to play it, I haven't yet decided. But again, that's still a while off, so no biggie. Have you ever thought about reacting to Aqua Teen Hunger Force? It reminds me of South Park, but 11 minutes and about a... Yeah. You don't even need to explain to me what that is. I know exactly what Aqua Teen Hunger Force is, and I'm just going to say right now, no. That show always weirded me out as a kid. I've seen enough clips and episodes, and it always weirded me out. Like, I always knew that there was just so much about South Park I wasn't understanding, but for some reason the art style is very... It's very unpleasant to look at. And the characters just, for some reason, their personalities, especially French Fry, just didn't sit well with me. Yeah, the designs were never aesthetically pleasing. And I know it almost seems like, you know, it could be up my alley, but for some reason, like, I just have very bad memories of watching that show. I always got creeped out or weirded out by any of the clips or episodes that I saw. Or French Fry. I meant to say Master Shake. That's who I meant to say. I was suddenly thinking about it, like, wait, no, that's not the right character. But yeah, those characters always made me nervous. That show in general always made me nervous. I honestly really don't like it. I mean, granted, it has been a while, but I don't know. Sometimes, you know, the bad memories are just all it really takes. So I do apologize to, who asked that? Yeah, Mike the Chicago Critic. I do apologize for that having to be the case, but I never cared too much for that show. Career-wise, what kind of job am I pursuing? You're still struggling to find yours. Yeah, it can take a little bit for people to find, you know, the career they want to take, the route they want to go for life. It's definitely not the easiest thing to figure out. It helped for me a little bit because I was logical, so I already had an idea of especially what I could and couldn't do and what I shouldn't do, for sure. But I definitely intend to... Okay, I see how it goes now. I definitely intend to still, eventually, pursue a career in forensic science, so most likely becoming a forensic technician. So, while I wouldn't be opposed to lab work, I'd love to do something in the field one day. I've wanted to do field work for, like, forensics especially, for quite some time now. I mean, heck, I even went to college and I obtained a bachelor's degree in forensic science with a focus in crime scene investigation. I am slightly salty, though, because I got a really intense fascination with entomology, and it doesn't help that my boyfriend kind of encourages that because he's a bit of an entomology nut as well, and entomology is, you know, insects and arthropods. Do not say bugs. Do not say bugs. That's not what they're called. Bug is an offensive term to entomologists, just so you guys know. But I wish I would have I didn't take my first entomology class until junior year. I could have taken it sophomore year, but it filled up before I could get into that class. But I wish I would have discovered it sooner, because I probably would have actually, no, I definitely would have considered making entomology a minor. Like, I would have actually considered having a minor at all. But alas, I am stuck with what I've got. I still have a bachelor's degree in forensic science. That's pretty significant. There's still plenty of people that are surprised, that are like, you can do that? You can actually major in that? It's like, yeah, you can. So yeah, I'm hoping to eventually become a forensic technician. Very much so. I've wanted to be a forensic tech for quite a while. This may actually be one I don't know if I can answer. It's the scariest experience that I've ever had in my life. Oh boy. And don't worry about this being, like, it's not really that much of a personal question. It's not necessarily something a lot of people would probably think to ask me, but geez, that's a really good question. I honestly don't know. I can think of plenty of frustrating and plenty of like little sad moments in my life, but the scariest experience in my life, I honestly don't know. Because I mean, I don't get scared very easily. And like even when I do get scared, it's not like a sort of major one. It's more like a little minor things, but jeez. I really don't actually know what the scariest experience I've ever had in my life. I honestly don't know. I've never really thought about that. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the scariest experience of my life is. I'll be completely honest. I wasn't expecting to get through all those questions. That was it's like 17 or 18 or something like that. I still got through a lot of questions. But those were all the questions that people had asked between like 3 different community posts, I think it was. And I was initially planning on turning this into a Q&A, like, answering the questions and stuff like that, but it kind of just came out like this. January ended up being a lot busier than I initially thought it was. Than I was intending it to be, or hoping it to be, I guess, in a way. But January did not turn out how I expected to, and it just got a little crazy. Yeah, that was 18 questions. I encountered this. Because I check on my analytics from time to time. Just kind of something I feel like I need to do from time to time. But I check on my analytics every once in a while, and I was honestly curious, so I kind of looked into it a little bit and came across this. So, I mean, it says last 28 days, but I checked for the lifetime as well, and it's basically the same thing. So, the people who end up watching my videos, not even 2% of them are subscribed to my channel. I mean, granted, most of it comes from the compilations that I put together. I'm not at all surprised. But if there are those of you who are subscribed who have watched my videos for long enough, you may have noticed, or you may not have even noticed as well, that I have like, if I did maybe once, I just don't remember it, but to my knowledge, not once have I ever asked anybody to subscribe to my channel. Like, yes, I know it's something that people usually need, or, something like that, but no, like, for as long as I've been making videos, for as often as I've been making videos, I have never once asked people to subscribe to my channel. I just keep telling them until the next video. Like, that's all I say. At the end of every single one of my videos, I don't ask people to subscribe. I don't even ask for likes. And the only time I ask for, people to share my content is, for charity live streams like this, where I'm trying to, get as much, trying to garner as much attention as I can possibly muster. But yeah, I have not once asked for likes, subscriptions, or anything to that effect. And but it was still kind of funny looking at the analytic of how many people, are subscribed versus, how many people are not subscribed, and how much both sides of the party watch. Both sides of the coin. What? I don't know. Something to that effect. But it was just kind of funny to look at. And of course, you know, there are plenty of people who keep telling me that my channel is underrated and stuff like that, and I'm just like, oh, thank you, that's very sweet, but it's like, but I mean, my channel in a way is just kind of like anybody else's.